Let's talk about me tweeting that he's a monster and then working with him again.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. My name is Sebastian and I have a lot to go over with you guys. I took a bunch of notes. FYI, had I done this good in school and take notes, I would have been fucking Harvard graduate. Seriously, like I was just like writing and I was like, you would think I was writing for the Washington Post, bitch. But anyways, welcome back to my channel, guys. The subject we're going to talk about is a little bit, well, no, it's not a little bit, it's very dark. So I'm just going to try and do it as nice and light as possible so I don't, trigger anybody, because I don't want anybody to feel, sad or anything. So welcome back to my channel. Get ready, get comfortable, get a snack, and sit down. And if you would please consider subscribing, I would be very, very grateful. I am a very small channel and I would be super grateful if you subscribe. So let's get into it. Chris Hansen sat down with Jeffree Star and they spoke about everything and nothing. And here is what I want to say. I'm going to address everything they talked about, plus the comments that I was reading were not good at all. So here we go. He said that he started off with he has not spoken to Dahvie in forever. Okay, that was very important. He says to Chris that he and Dahvie met. Dahvie was more of a fan when they first met, and then he started getting a little bit more famous in the music industry. And he admits that he starts off by, kind of defending himself a bit. Like because Chris asked him, what kind of person were you in the past? And Jeffree was like, look, I was a very offensive person. I did a lot of things for attention. The Jeffree you see now is not the Jeffree I was before. I have evolved, right? So he's putting off that right off the bat. He met Dahvie in Florida, and he says they only toured together twice, right? So you have to guys understand that while they're talking, the comment section is blowing up, like blowing up. You have no idea. There was about 20-something thousand people watching. And so off the bat, Chris asked, like, so were you and Dahvie like friends? He says that him and Dahvie were never friends. They had 1 year where they were friendly, but they were never like friends. And while they were on tour, they would see each other at check-in and check-out, and when they were on stage, and then they would leave. So that was that tea on if they were like best friends and brothers or whatever. Okay. He goes on to address that famous video on stage where Dahvie brings up a 13-year-old girl and grinds on her. Now, Jeffree says that it was normal back then, in that when they performed that song together, to bring in someone on stage and dance with him. So it was sort of like he was used to it and it was normal for him, which blows my mind a little bit. He says that he is not responsible for Dahvie grinding on this 13-year-old girl, okay? So off the bat, he's like, don't put me in the same sentence. I'm not the one who grinded. He says that Dahvie was a huge manipulator with the music industry, with his bandmates, with Jeffree himself. And he says that he saw Dahvie do a lot of inappropriate things, but never nothing illegal. Now, he says this quite a lot in the interview, which is funny because in the tweet, he says, he saw things illegal. He says also that he never saw a minor by themselves, that they were always with the mom. Now, this is insane. He goes on to say he would witness moms going in with their daughters into Dahvie's room, and they were known to have threesomes, or just sex with the mom, or just sex with the child. So Jeffree kind of knew this, and everyone around them knew that this was potentially going on. Like I said, he never admits that he was friends with him. He says that Jay which I'm guessing was another band member, was heavily brainwashed. Jay was one of the friends that Jeffree had in the band, okay? So just so you know. He was more friends with Jay than with Dahvie himself. He goes on to say that Dahvie never gave him a good vibe. It was always a very weird and kind of like a irky vibe. Now, personally, if somebody's that weird, you ain't coming close to me. But, you know, they were on tour together, so Jeffree says they had to be sort of nice to each other. Jeffree says that he was never in the circle with Dahvie and his bandmates because Dahvie and his bandmates were more like drinkers and more of like party people, and Jeffree and his band were more stoners. He goes on to say that he does not drink or doesn't do anything like that, and he admits that there's of course so many rumors about him drinking secretly. They did go on to be friends for a year. Friendly, he says. He doesn't really say anything else. Then finally, Jeffree's like, because I guess Jeffree saw the comment section because it was blowing up. They were like, talk about the tweet, talk about the tweet, talk about the tweet. So they finally talked about, Jeffree actually was like, look, I would love to address this tweet thing right now because people are going crazy asking me about the tweet. So he goes on to say that he literally he says, I never saw Dahvie do anything illegal. I only saw him do inappropriate things. You be the judge. He believed that Dahvie was a child molester because the rumors and everyone around them saying that. And that's why he tweeted that. Because he was believing everyone around him. I don't know. At this point, the comment section is completely hating on Jeffree. There's a lot more hate than there is love. I'm telling you guys, it was like, he's a liar, I'm unsubscribing. Like, I don't know how much this is gonna affect Jeffree, but that comment section was, I believe, 70% not with Jeffree. Chris then goes and asks why he didn't report anything at that time to officials about Dahvie, while after saying that he was a child molester, right? So he says, again, I didn't see anything inappropriate. I saw only inappropriate, never anything illegal, okay? He goes on to admit that Dahvie has absolutely no secrets on him and that he is not blackmailing him or anything like that. So that's off the question. He just wanted to make clear a lot of the rumors that were going on. He admits why he worked with him again after those tweets. He says he called two of the band members because he was going on tour, and I guess the agent sent him a list of bands who were going to open for him and who were going to close after him, and Blood on the Dance Floor was one of the bands. He says that he went on to call the two of his friends he had in the band to make sure that they didn't see anything illegal that Dahvie did. Now, when he said that, fans went absolutely nuts, and they were like, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a crazy lie. Now, he said that he felt very comfortable because one of the bandmates that is friends with him was a mom, and he trusted her and her judgment. And that they both said they saw inappropriate things, never anything illegal. Yeah, so I said that. I'm trying to make this as fast as possible because I know you guys have things to do. Dahvie, before the tour, actually went on to call Jeffree and apologize and said, like, look, I don't want you to believe any of the rumors. Like, none of this is true. Please, let's go on tour together, blah, blah, blah. And once again, I tell you, he called Jay and Brandy, which are the band members, and they completely made Jeffree feel comfortable by saying that they've only seen inappropriate things, never anything illegal, okay? And that's why they booked Blood on the Dance Floor. He called Dahvie a child molester. I think I already said that, but he called him that just because everyone around him was thinking those things. So he felt the need, he called himself dramatic, and he felt the need to say that in the tweet. He says that there are some rumors that Jeffree was working with Dahvie for money, that's a complete lie, and they were never friends. The last time him and Dahvie spoke was in San Diego in 2014 when Jay reached out to Jeffree and said like, hey, me and Dahvie have a new house. Why don't you come over? And Jeffree said that he felt very like weirded out about going, but he wanted to go and see Jay. And when he got there, he noticed that Jay was very afraid. He looked very uncomfortable, and he kept asking Jeffree kind of business advice. So Jeffree felt like he wanted to sort of get out of that environment that he was in. He addresses that famous bathroom video, where the guy's drunk, blah, blah, blah. He says that the caption says it all, and that right now everyone is just taking little clips from it and making him seem like the bad person and distracting people from the Dahvie situation. He then goes on and says like, look, the Jeffree that was back then is not me now. I used to do a lot of things for drama and attention and fame, and that's not me. That's not me anymore. And, he's not about that life. And he's sick and tired of people editing videos from his past and using it against him and putting him in the same sentence as Dahvie. Girl, I already said, oh, I'm good at memorizing. If only I could have done this good in school. He goes on to say that Chris asked him, like, what would you do? Like, what justice thing can be done? And Jeffree says, like, look, if it was up to me, I would put him in the electric chair. So, that he deserves to die, that he's a disgusting monster, and he does not support him. He has never supported him, and he will never support him. That Dahvie's a piece of shit. Basically, that he's the worst person in the world. Chris asks, what would you say if Dahvie was watching now? He says that Dahvie doesn't deserve a word from him, and that he should rot in jail, and he's a disgusting pig, and he should just sit in a jail cell. Then, this is where people were getting a little bit pissed, because people were saying that they were not talking enough about victims, and then Chris went on to ask Jeffree things like, so how are you helping out in this COVID? Like, I've seen that you've been giving money away. Why did you leave the music industry? Like, things like that people were like, this is not what this is about. Like, focus on the victims, focus on, blah, blah, blah. They were pissed off that Chris and Jeffree were going off subject so much. And they went on off subject, I believe, for a good 12 minutes. And Jeffree was talking about how he's been donating money, helping out victims, and stuff like that. So then, Chris was like, what would you say? What would you say that the right thing to do now? How would you help victims? He then said he would start, like, people should start a GoFundMe page so that they can get, special relief. People were saying that Chris was like kind of implying that Jeffree should pay like the victims, which I don't know. And yeah, guys, it honestly ended there. It was very like, they talked and talked, and then they just went off subject for a while, talked about Jeffree's business, why he left the music industry, how toxic the music industry is, and that's why people were a little bit mad. But the one thing I did notice is people were donating money like crazy. Like 3-4 people donated $100 each, and a lot of people were there to support Jeffree, but a lot of people were also not. The thing is, you're never going to please everyone. You know what I mean? So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. I hope I did justice for this video. And if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead. But I think to end this video, I pray and hope that everyone out there who was a victim will come forward. And I hope and pray that we can sort of have this comfort circle where we can embrace the victims and help them in any way we can. Do you know what I mean? Sort of like give them a space, a safe space. And I really appreciate what Chris is doing, giving voices to those who don't have platforms. And at the end of the day, Jeffree went on, spoke to Chris, and it's up to you guys whether you want to, believe it or not. But I think, I think Chris is not going to rest until justice is served. So that makes me really happy that victims will get peace hopefully soon one day. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love you all so much. Thank you so much. And I'm here to give you guys tea every day of the week. Mwah.